you if I could.
You have to explain yourself to Frank Gore. You act like he's a bum.
That's a disgrace.
Never gets old. It is time for quick takes, gentlemen. Let's pick up the pace. We ready to do this?
Yes, of course.
All right. The 5th-seeded Hawks face the 4th-seeded Wizards. Stephen A., who you got?
I'm going with the Wizards. I still believe the Wizards have a legitimate shot at getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. They wouldn't have to face the Cavs until that moment in time. I believe in John Wall. I believe in Bradley Beal. I got serious questions about everybody else, but I like them since they picked up Bogdanovich. It's just that they've got to play together. I'm still high on the Washington Wizards until the Eastern Conference Finals, and I'm going to stick with them right now. They'll beat the Hawks.
You've been team wall-to-wall all season. Yeah, Max, your thoughts?
Without a John Wall on Atlanta has to do a lot of things very well, and that hasn't been the case. Budenholzer is a great coach and all that, but they haven't really executed, particularly defensively, defending the three. And in the modern NBA, you don't have that singular superstar, and you're vulnerable to the three. It doesn't look good. I like the Wizards here.
Out west, the 7-seed Grizzlies face the 2-seed Spurs. Maximilian, do you give the Grizz a shot?
I do, but I like the Spurs to win. But I think this series could easily go 7 games. I like the Spurs. I think this is going to be very tough.
Spurs in 6. End of discussion.
Dirk Nowitzki
That's
says
not a cakewalk, 6 games. Go ahead.
He will return for his 20th season. Stephen A., should he have hung him up?
I don't like it. I mean, if you're staying around because you need the money, that would be different, because I'm certainly not going to knock anybody for putting cash in their pocket. Why go out and get a regular job when you can play basketball, collect millions, and virtually chill? He's a champion, one of the greatest players we've ever seen in NBA history, deserves all the credit and accolades he receives. But he has clearly diminished because Father Time has taken a lot away from his game. Combine that with the absence of star power talent to play alongside him. You're just there playing the game. You're not really winning, and that's a shame because he's great, and so is the greatness of Rick Carlisle as a coach. I wish they had better talent.
That makes no sense to me at all. He ain't a
Nothing
fighter.
Usually
he
does.
Ain't a football player. He's not taking a beating like that. He's not going to wind up like with CTE because he's playing basketball.
You've never played basketball.
Make him rip the uniform off you before you give it up. And now, look, it's not even like Kobe at the end getting $25 million a year, taking away resources from the team. So part of the reason you're on a bad team is because of that. Dirk has agreed to huge reductions in pay. He just wants to play ball. Dirk,
I want to come back to you. I want to come back to you, Max. Why did you just lie to the American public the way that you did? You yourself, with your bad back having self, you acting like running up and down the court is not a big deal? I mean, come on, Max. Running up and down the court is a big deal.
I think you've argued before the NBA players suffer more damage sometimes than NFL players. I
Yes,
think that's
you did.
happened on this very show.
Good catch,
You
Molly.
can deal with that later. If I
Oh,
played in the NBA, they'd have to rip the uniform off me.
Oh, you full of it.
Ball
You have a hard time walking to the cafeteria.
You'd be
He got a hard time
traveling
walking to the
in a
cafeteria,
minute.
Molly.
Put me on blast like that. How dare you?
Come on.
Feel free to take your time on this one, gentlemen. So Us Weekly, I don't know if you're familiar with them, are reporting that Aaron Rodgers is going Hollywood, working out with pop singer Nick Jonas instead of his teammates. Max, your reaction?
My reaction is I get the criticism, well, Tom Brady's doing X, Y, and Z, and he's had the most ultimate success and all that kind of stuff. I get it. I understand all that. If you are Aaron Rodgers, arguably, and I would argue, the best who ever did it, instead of complaining about the way he's doing it, maybe more people should try to do it the way he's doing it. Because that guy is the best. Whatever he wants to do that. If that's how you play at when you prepare the way Aaron Rodgers prepares.
Well, let me say this. Aaron Rodgers is a bad man, no doubt about it. But I have to admit, on a rarity has occurred. I got to put shade on this one. I don't think he's doing the right thing. Because it's not about his greatness. It's about peeling the greatness from others around you. And as the quarterback and the face of this franchise, it's incumbent upon him to do everything he can to maximize the potential around him, particularly when you just got bounced out in the NFC Championship game and they didn't look impressive in that game either. Bill Belichick is on record talking about the greatness of Tom Brady and why he's so great. He didn't talk about talent. He talked about the other intangibles. You could learn from a 5-time champion. Aaron Rodgers is great. That doesn't mean the others around him are.
No question.
For the record, Molly and
Yes.
Stephen A., so Aaron Rodgers should only ever work out with guys on his team, right? That's the only thing. He never has time to work out with anyone else.
Max, did they not have chemistry issues? Were they not getting messy in the media, that team? Yeah, there was issues
Answer
there.
that
He might
question.
want to be with Yes, he should only work out with his team, correct.
Ever. He's never can work out with anyone else. Got
No one else, definitely not you.
I'm not
Up
saying
next.
that, but Nick Jonas.
Not a Jonas brother?
No. Is it win or go home for the Clippers? Doc Rivers says he's not going anywhere, but who do you think the guys think needs to move on if they don't bring home the Larry O'Brien trophy? Plus, we are approaching the 70th anniversary of Jackie Robinson's debut in Major League Baseball. In Final Take, Stephen A. will reflect on his legacy. Stay tuned.
First Take. This your homeboy Ice Cube.
Hey, I'm Mark Wahlberg. It's Floyd Money Mayweather.
Hi, I'm Usain Bolt.
This big boy, one half of the mighty Outcast is Adrian Peterson. McConaughey here. It's T.I.P.
The boss, Ricky Rose.
This is Kevin Hart, a.k.a. Long-Faced Little Body. And right now, you're watching my favorite show. I'm talking about First Take, without Stephen A. Smith.
It's halftime on this Good Friday. Good day, people. Thank you so much for being with us. Stephen A., what are you hot on as we approach hour number 2?
Well, tomorrow marks the 70th anniversary of Jackie Robinson integrating baseball. Obviously, is a cause to celebrate, but there's something about it that's not worthy of a celebration. I'll explain it in my final take.
And on a lighter note, or is it a lighter note, Aaron Rodgers working out with a Jonas brother instead of his teammates. Big deal. Second hour, First Take right now.
4 takes, that's you. 3 takes, not me. 2 takes if you lucky. First take, got me.
Is it Sunday yet? Round 1, James Harden versus Russell Westbrook is box office. This season, the Rockets beat OKC in 3 of their 4 meetings, but only 1 win was by more than 3 points, which means this should be good, folks. Max, what will we learn from this matchup?
Well, everyone's focusing on Westbrook versus Harden, obviously, for good reason. We've focused on that. But I think, you know, what I think of now in terms of what we can learn, and it won't be definitive, but it'll be a new piece of evidence, is does the D'Antoni system in the playoffs, you know, it's impossible to prepare for in a one-game situation. In a one-off, those threes are falling, those bombs are falling. What can you do? They can beat any team in the world. But in a best-of-7 series, in the playoffs, is there something OKC can do, seeing it multiple times consecutively, to slow it down? Will the refs call the game differently in some way that negatively affects the Rockets? Mike D'Antoni was on Mike and Mike this morning talking about one of the things he's come to realize is that when he was coaching in the past, obviously with Phoenix and Steve Nash, he should have doubled down on shooting threes. They weren't shooting enough threes. He should have, because he saw the future and didn't embrace it to the extent that he should have. Well, he's doubled down or tripled down now, like half their shots are from 3. And we'll see the efficacy of playing that way in a best-of-7 series in a modern NBA playoffs. Is there something about that? Is it fundamentally more probabilistic and therefore not a great idea? The old expression, live by the 3, die by the 3. This will not answer it definitively, but it will certainly be a new piece of evidence because OKC is very differently constructed and plays very differently. So we'll see.
What I'm going to learn is what Russell Westbrook is going to be able to do in the postseason with this particular team. It's one thing to do what you've been doing night in and night out over the course of an 82-game schedule, back-to-back games. You're fatigued. You're going against teams who are fatigued. You're going against teams that don't necessarily have the time or the wherewithal to plan accordingly for you. Come playoff time, without the services of Kevin Durant, we're going to learn a lot about Russell Westbrook because we're going to witness what he can do with the minimal amount of help he's perceived as having. We'll find that out about him. We'll also find out something about Mike D'Antoni's system and whether or not this is going to work come playoff time. Again, for the same reasons. When teams have days to prepare for you and they lock in and play intensifies and what have you, we're going to see what both teams are made of, but primarily what the Houston Rockets are made of collectively and what Russell Westbrook is made of individually as it pertains to him having to carry the load without Kevin Durant.
Yeah, and getting back to what I mentioned about the threes, Stephen A., I think that's an ongoing, look, most people have accepted. A couple of years ago, Phil Jackson said, what did he tweet out? And he misspelled it, talking about some team like Memphis had beaten another team that shot a lot of threes, and Phil Jackson was gloating about it because he's not a believer in shooting so many of them. And it turns out like every team in the playoffs, all of them were among the teams that shot the most threes during the regular season. And, of course, the Golden State Warriors wound up winning the whole thing. But LeBron didn't have any help in that series. And then as soon as he got some help, he beat the jump-shooting Golden State Warriors because, if you really just forget about injuries and suspensions, the shots weren't falling for them. And the playoffs are a little bit different. Of course, the Cavs also shot and hit a lot of threes and were on fire in that respect heading into the playoffs. So the fact, I think there's something about it that's fitting that Mike D'Antoni, of all people, is the coach of the Rockets and James Harden's coach. And we will see his theory tested right there in the first round against a team that doesn't shoot and hit a lot of them, against a team that's going to crash the offensive glass. And of course, the drama between Westbrook and Harden is there. We all know that. But I think it will be an interesting test right off the bat in terms of the way the modern game is going to be played. Is it going to move increasingly toward the D'Antoni way of playing it? Likely Popovich will figure out how to do that better than anyone else. He kind of already has. Or will there be some kind of an adjustment made and some kind of normalcy brought to things, some kind of regression to the mean in terms of that style of play? I think this series will actually influence the answer to those questions.
Gotcha.
All right, we will leave it there. Coming up, is Aaron Rodgers going Hollywood? We've got reports that he's been spending a lot of time in La La Land getting facials and working out with a Jonas brother. What is going on, and is this a cause for concern with the Packers? Plus, the Greek Freak has emerged to near superstar status this season. So are the Bucs a team to fear in the playoffs? We'll tell you if they're the best lower-seeded team after the break.